You're relaxing in your own home, the one you've paid for with decades of hard work, when your arrogant son-in-law storms in, switches off your TV, and barks, "Go to your room, old woman. This living room is mine now." And your daughter? She just stands there, silent, letting it happen. That's the moment everything changed for Celeste. But oh, the payback. It's ice cold and utterly satisfying. Stick around, you won't believe how this ends. If you've ever felt disrespected, undervalued, or pushed around by family who should have your back, this story's for you. It's a reminder that justice can come from the most unexpected places. Hit that like button if you're rooting for the underdog, subscribe for more heart-pounding revenge tales from Reddit, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that hits right in the feels. Let's dive. Let me paint the picture for you. Celeste was a widow in her late 70s, with short gray hair that framed a face etched by years of quiet strength. She'd spent 35 years at the county recorder's office, stamping deeds and titles, learning the unyielding power of paperwork. Her husband had passed 15 years ago, leaving her with a modest pension, some investments, and the cozy two-story house on a quiet suburban street, the one with the green velvet armchair she'd bought with her first Social Security check. It was her sanctuary, filled with the scent of fresh peach cobbler baking in the oven and the soft murmur of evening news on the TV. For 4 years, she'd shared that home with her daughter, Lena, and Lena's husband, Derek. It started innocently enough. They needed a place to stay after Derek lost his job, and Celeste, ever the nurturing mother, opened her doors. She paid the bills, cooked the meals, even covered their car payments when times got tough. But over time, gratitude turned to entitlement. Derek, a burly man with a perpetual scowl and a voice like gravel, treated the house like his kingdom. He'd sprawl on the couch, barking orders, while Lena shrank into the background, her once bright eyes dulled by years of walking on eggshells. Celeste felt it building, that slow erosion of her dignity. She'd catch Derek rolling his eyes when she spoke, muttering under his breath about the old bat taking up space. She'd eat the burnt edges of her own pies, saving the best for them, and watch TV with headphones so as not to disturb his important calls. Her joints ached from the extra cleaning, her wallet thin from the tripled utilities, but she swallowed it all. Why? Because family sticks together, right? Because she loved Lena, her only child, and hoped one day her daughter would see the truth. But that evening, everything shattered. Celeste was in her armchair, the fabric worn soft from years of use, a mug of cooling coffee on the end table. The kitchen still hummed with the warmth of dessert, and the TV flickered with the day's headlines, her quiet ritual, a brief escape where she didn't have to serve anyone. Then the front door slammed like thunder. Footsteps pounded. Derek burst in, his face flushed, Lena trailing behind with shopping bags dangling from her white-knuckled hands. She looked exhausted, apologetic even, but said nothing. Derek planted himself right in front of the screen, blocking the view. He snorted, that dismissive, piggish sound he made whenever he saw her doing nothing. Without a word, he snatched the remote and jabbed the power button. The screen went black. "To your room, old woman," he bellowed, his voice echoing off the walls. "I've got the game on. The family room is mine now." The silence that followed was suffocating. Celeste's heart pounded in her chest, a mix of shock and a deep, aching hurt. She shifted her gaze to Lena, standing frozen in the kitchen doorway. Their eyes locked. "Come on," Celeste thought, her throat tightening. "Say something. Defend me. Tell him this is my house, my life." But Lena just dropped her head, fiddling with the bags like they were suddenly the most important thing in the world. That betrayal. It hit harder than Derek's words, a cold blade twisting in her gut. In that moment, anger didn't explode, it crystallized into clarity. Celeste's mind raced back to her years at the recorder's office. Words fade, but documents endure. She rose slowly, her knees clicking like a judge's gavel. Derek was already lounging on the couch, popping open a soda, not even glancing her way. In his eyes, she was invisible, just furniture to be moved aside. She didn't argue. Instead, she walked to her room, pulled out a leather pouch from the dresser, keys, a blue folder banded with elastic. Inside, the deed to the house, yellowed but ironclad, naming her as sole owner. No lease, no agreements, just her generosity, now revoked. She glanced in the mirror, gray hair, glasses on a chain, linen trousers, navy blouse. She looked like the cookie-baking grandma they'd underestimated. Perfect camouflage. Back in the living room, Derek had cranked the sports volume, Lena clattering dishes in avoidance. Celeste headed for the door, heels clicking on the hardwood. Derek smirked over his shoulder. Taking a stroll, Celeste? Don't get lost at your age. She didn't reply. She stepped out, the crisp air hitting her face like freedom. She locked the gate behind her, hailed a cab to the Grand Hyatt downtown. In the cab, her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from the rush of reclaiming power. She called Andrew Sterling, an old attorney contact. I need to evict 2 tenants, she said flatly. He paused, then understood. No lease meant she could terminate their stay. Notice to quit, 30 days, he agreed. I'll send my associate Roman first thing tomorrow. At the hotel, the room smelled of lavender, the bed plush. She turned on her TV, her volume, her channel, ordered soup and wine. For the first time in years, she ate without interruption, her thoughts sharp as a blade. She pictured their morning, Derek grouchy, Lena fussing. And then, the doorbell, Roman in his crisp suit, papers in hand. The next day, after signing at Sterling's office, she waited in reception, sipping vending machine coffee that tasted like victory. The clock ticked. At 9:30, her phone buzzed, Lena, hysterical. Mama, there's a man here with documents. Eviction notice. Derek screaming. What have you done? Celeste's voice was calm, steel-edged. Read it aloud. The old woman is unavailable for screaming today. She hung up, the silence sweeter than any apology. Texts flooded in, Derek's demands to come home and talk, Lena's pleas. Celeste ignored them. She suspended the utilities in her name, internet, cable, the supplementary card. Let them feel the chill. She even shopped for new clothes, shedding the grandma uniform for something sharper, boundaries etched in every seam. The 30 days crawled by, but Celeste held firm, staying at the hotel, her pension covering it easily. Derek's fury turned to desperation, calls, texts, even showing up at Sterling's office, red-faced and blustering. This is insane. We're family. But the law didn't care about his tantrums. Lena's messages shifted from panic to tears, Mama, please. We have nowhere to go. Celeste's heart twinged, but she remembered that silence in the kitchen. It was time they learned. On day 31, the sheriff arrived. Derek's shouts echoed as boxes were hauled out, his sports memorabilia, Lena's shopping hauls. Neighbors watched, whispering. Derek's face twisted in humiliated rage, Lena's in shocked tears. Celeste stood across the street, keys in hand, watching as the locks were changed. Relief washed over her like warm rain, triumph, validation, the weight of years lifting. The house was hers again, quiet and whole. Stories like this remind us, respect isn't optional, especially in family. Underestimate someone at your peril, karma has a way of balancing the scales. Celeste reclaimed her dignity, proving that sometimes, the quiet ones strike the hardest. If this revenge gave you that satisfying chill down your spine, smash that like button and drop a comment. What's the most epic payback you've seen or pulled off?